I just got goosebumps.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Super Asylum channel. Today we are continuing to rank my favorite MCU movies. Now in the last video we ranked from 19th to 11th and there were some very controversial opinions in that video, I think personally, because there are some fan favorites in that list. Now you can of course watch that video by clicking in the top right half of the screen. There is a link that will take you to part 1. But this is of course part 2 and we are going to rank from 10th to number 1. So tune in for this massive revelation. At number 10 we have James Gunn's first MCU movie, and it is of course Guardians of the Galaxy. Now I was very surprised that Guardians of the Galaxy would rank this high on my list, but it cracks the top 10, just barely, but it cracks the top 10, and this is a very unique Marvel movie. Now this is the first, I believe it is the first Marvel movie that uses, unknown characters, and James Gunn made it work. He took a band of misfits and he made them into, a very recognizable brand. And it of course took place not on Earth like I believe most of MCU movies previously. I know there is some controversial stuff in this movie, one being that Peter Quill dances at, I don't know, at the end of the movie when he faces the villain or something like that. And it of course changes everyone's personality of the original Guardians of the Galaxy from the comic books, because the Guardians of the Galaxy in the MCU I believe are nothing like the Guardians of the Galaxy from the comic books. But that is basically what James Gunn does. He takes already existing characters and he gives them the traits and personality that he wants, and it seems to work. Now to another very surprising ranking. It is AntMan at number 8. Now AntMan was surprisingly very fun. Well, I say surprisingly, it starred Paul Rudd, arguably one of the funniest actors today, and they gave Ant-Man his personality basically, and that's why this movie works. I think without the comedy I don't think it would work, because I mean, it's an Ant-Man, for crying out loud. If they made Ant-Man serious, I don't think it would have worked, because there's no way anyone could take a guy named Ant-Man seriously. So they basically took Ant-Man and Paul Rudd and merged them together, and they gave us one of the funniest MCU movies to date, and it works because it has Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd is a legend of the comic game, and he is the sexiest man alive. Not my words, check it out. At number 8, and there is no recency bias in my list, it is SpiderMan No Way Home. Now you might be thinking, what? SpiderMan No Way Home at number 8? How is that possible? Now, here is possibly, no it's not possibly, here is the most controversial Spider-Man No Way Home take that you have ever seen. I did not enjoy No Way Home. Now. Put down your pitchforks. Fishforks? Your pitchforks. Well, I did enjoy No Way Home, but I didn't. If you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, here are massive spoilers. I did not enjoy the movie up until Andrew Garfield was revealed as Spider-Man, or when they showed him as Spider-Man. And then of course later came Tobey Maguire, and that really made the movie for me. I feel like this movie just leans so much on nostalgia, and without the nostalgia I think it would fall flat. Now that's probably a very controversial opinion, but I don't know, just didn't enjoy the opening of the movie, man. Well, there was I don't know if it's the MCU formula, the new MCU formula, you know, all funny gags, and I don't know, the music was also pretty bad in my opinion, but I did get a good laugh out of Spider-Man No Way Home, that's for sure. There were some very funny moments in the movie, and possibly the greatest chemistry between actors that I have ever seen in my life, between Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Their interactions made this movie. I don't know how they pulled it off, man, but they made the interactions seem so natural, and it was great to see, man. It was great to see. And you know, of course, Aunt May died in this movie. Now, I haven't seen the previous two Spider-Man movies, so I had absolutely no connection to Aunt May. And when she died, I didn't feel anything. But, you know, if you have followed Spider-Man for the past two movies, then you probably care a lot about Aunt May, but I just didn't. And I have spent a very long time, I think, talking about a movie that is at number 8 and that I somehow didn't enjoy half of the movie. But yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home at number 8. It started getting great after, you know, Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2, or Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3 were introduced. That's when the movie really took off, in my opinion. And of course, I can't forget Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. Always fun to see him. Okay, one thing, I have to admit that I got the biggest nerdgasm in the world when Tobey Maguire walked through that portal. He is my absolute favorite Spider-Man. He just is. And Andrew Garfield he got his justice in this movie. I think he is the funniest Peter Parker or Spider-Man. I mean, he knows he is the best, and he is not afraid to say so. You know, he reppin', man, he reppin', but still, Tobey Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man. At number 7, we have Thor Ragnarok. Now, I'm gonna make this very quick. This movie was fun. It was fun. And I know there are some people out there who don't, you know, enjoy it because they made Thor and Hulk into a joke. And I am kinda in that space because, like, what? They made Thor, the God of Thunder, a comedian? Like, what? That's so weird, but this movie is basically Planet Hulk or Gladiator Hulk, something like that. And it was cool to see them, you know, battle it out in that arena. If I do remember correctly, they basically... Now, I'm gonna refer to an animated movie. It probably happened in the comic books as well, but... You know, I can't remember his name, something Ray Bill. He's basically a buffalo. I'm gonna call him Buffalo Ray Bill. He became, I don't know, he became Thor. I think, obviously he wasn't in that movie, but I believe that he is in that Planet Hulk movie, or War World. No, not War World, that's DC. But something, yeah, I don't know, gladiatory, but yeah, this movie of course sets up Valkyrie to be, I don't know, the new leader of Asgard. Now, I can't remember who, I think Valkyrie is gay in this universe. Now, I don't know if she and Jane Foster are going to be an item. That doesn't really make sense to me because, you know, she was in love with Thor and she somehow got yeeted out of the universe, but she is in fact gay, and man, I should really search up who she's going to be with, but yeah, I just can't remember, so let's just move on. At number 6, we have a revolutionary movie from the people at Marvel, and it is of course Black Panther, which features a predominantly black cast, and it was very successful. I am so thankful for this movie. It proves that black people can older on in Hollywood, and people are willing to go see people of color. And it brought out a lot of people of color to see this movie, and it just sparked a whole new, I don't know, sparked a whole revolution, man. We saw footballers, wearing Black Panther masks, and we of course got that Wakanda Forever, and it became huge, man. And man, I'm so grateful. And it introduced me to, well, it didn't introduce me to Black Panther, but Black Panther became one of my favorite, superheroes in the MCU. Now, I'm not a huge comic book reader when it comes to Marvel, but at least what they did on the big screen and what Chadwick Boseman did with the character in the MCU was, of course, and is of course, fantastic. And I don't know how they're gonna manage to do Black Panther 2, but Black Panther was good, man. I know a lot of people didn't like it and they criticized the CGI in that movie. Yeah, I don't know. The CGI may be a little shoddy, but I am willing to look past that just to get, this ensemble cast of people of color, and to get these people out there and they get more roles and as they deserve. But yeah, I'm getting too emotional now, so let's just move on. At number 5 we have Iron Man 2. It has Whiplash and something Justin Hammer, and we got to see multiple different suits in this game or movie. And yeah, Iron Man 2 was great, man. I've seen all the Iron Man movies so many times. They were my favorite trilogy, or not favorite trilogy, but they were my favorite 2 MCU movies for a long time. Now, I'm a bit surprised myself, because at number 4 we have Avengers Endgame, and that means there are 3 more movies, or 3 other movies that are better than it. Now, I trust the ranking engine, and it ranked Avengers Endgame at number 4, so that's what I'm gonna go with. Now, Avengers Endgame is good. It is good. It is really, really good. And the tone from the first Avengers movie to Endgame is just magnificent. Of course, it is the end of the Infinity Saga that has been going on at Marvel for I don't know how many years, over 10 years, I believe, and it just had a great conclusion. Now, it was a little bit of a cop-out that, half of the universe died and half of the superheroes died and they were brought back one movie later. But you could say the same about Superman in Batman v Superman and Justice League, so I'm not gonna criticize it for that. So Avengers Endgame is, I don't know what to say. I mean, there are some elements of it that I don't enjoy. Firstly, it is just Captain Marvel. I know a lot of people love Brie Larson, a lot of people dislike Brie Larson, and I'm in the boat where I kinda dislike Brie Larson, and I don't know, she brought her bad vibes to the Marvel character, or to the Captain Marvel. I feel like, I don't know, man, when I saw Brie Larson, I just saw annoying. I saw annoying in a Captain Marvel suit, and yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched Captain Marvel, so maybe she is better in that, but I don't know, maybe. At number 3, we have the movie that started it all. It is, of course, Iron Man, starring Robert Downey Jr. The movie that started the MCU. He was, of course, the main guy in the MCU. Before he died, Iron Man, Tony Stark, of course, he was the face of the MCU, and of course, he died in Avengers Endgame. And how could you not put this in your top 3? Iron Man was such a great movie. It was introduced in the new era of superhero movies or comic book movies, where we had The Dark Knight, which just it changed the superhero industry or comic book movie industry. It revolutionized the superhero genre, because when The Dark Knight was introduced, man, the Dark Knight trilogy, Batman Begins, obviously, in 2005, I believe. And then with Dark Knight in 2008, something happened with the comic book industry where they were like, hey man, superhero movies are profitable again. They can work again. And it did. You can see what happened with the MCU, man. The most successful franchise or movie franchise in the world. Kevin Feige, the most successful producer in the world. The MCU has made $28 billion with 25 movies, and it has been wildly popular. And of course, now we're getting the DC EU. Well, it has been going on since 2013, but superhero movies is the most profitable, medium right now. I mean, even to games, man, Marvel SpiderMan was very successful. And superhero movies, comic book movies are taking over, man. I mean, even this year we are getting 5 DC EU movies. And of course we are getting a few Marvel movies as well, I think. And series, of course. We are getting Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We're getting Moon Knight series. She-Hulk, I think, is scheduled for this year. But yeah, superhero movies are taking over, man. They're here to stay. But yeah, let's move on to the next movie. At number 2, we have the best Avengers movie to date. It is Avengers Infinity War. Now this movie is something else, man. It is something else. This movie is almost Oscar worthy, if not Oscar worthy, because it is so good, man. I don't know, man, what Kevin Feige is smoking, but people want what he delivers or whatever. People will eat up whatever he does, and it's working. But with Avengers Infinity War, he did something else, man. He did something else. Now this is, of course, where all the accumulation of all the movies come together, and the Infinity Saga really, we are in the end game almost. We're not in the end game yet, but this is the end game. This is where Thanos finally, decides to get off his ass and actually do something. And of course, he manages to get all the Infinity Stones, and he of course wipes out half the universe, and then he retires. Now, I believe that he retired because you can only use the Infinity Gauntlet once, so that makes sense. There's something with Infinity War that is not present in any other MCU movie, in my opinion. Now, I don't know what it is. Now, this movie is written, I believe, or directed by the Russo brothers, like so many other movies in this, universe, but I don't know, they must have smoked something very, very good, because this movie just slaps compared to anything else. Well, obviously not to number 1, but yeah, let's just move on to number 1, because I'm just rambling on about number 2 because I don't know what to say. Now, drumroll please. Okay, I apologize for that, but at number 1 we have Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Now, I don't know what happened with Captain America, but compared to the first Captain America movie, this movie is 1,000 times better. This movie is good, man. Of course it's good, that's why it's number 1. But I don't know really, it's been a long time since I watched this movie, but this movie is fantastic. I remember really enjoying it. There's something about this movie that's just crazy, man. Absolutely the best movie. Infinity War is the only movie that really comes close to Captain America the Winter Soldier, in my opinion. So that was my ranking for every MCU movie that I have seen, and in order from number 1 to best to worst, we have number 1 Captain America the Winter Soldier, 2 Avengers Infinity War, 3 Iron Man, 4 Avengers Endgame, 5 Iron Man 2, 6 Black Panther, 7 Thor Ragnarok, 8 Spider-Man No Way Home, 9 AntMan, 10 Guardians of the Galaxy, 11 The Avengers, 12 Thor The Dark World, 13 Thor, 14 The Incredible Hulk, 15 Iron Man 3, 16 Captain America Civil War, 17 Avengers Age of Ultron, 18 Captain America The First Avenger, and last but not least we have Doctor Strange at 19. Let me know your top 3 best and top 3 least favorite MCU movies, if there is any movie that you find to be under par compared to the other MCU movies. But feel free to criticize my opinions in the comments below, because I know this is very controversial, but it is my honest opinion. And feel free to like this video, subscribe if you want to see more of me and my controversial opinions that are not actually meant to be controversial, but they just are. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Goodbye.